Beginning in the Hebrew month of Elul and looking forward to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we're encouraged to turn our attention to Teshuvah, the act that we call repentance. But the Hebrew word actually means return. And I'm afraid that we too often think of repentance, Teshuvah, as a one-directional action. That is to say, that the person who has committed a wrong, whether it be against his or her fellow or against God, returns to that other, to the person or to God, and begs forgiveness. The problem is that in order for this process to work, it's got to be two-directional. It's got to be not only an act of returning to, but an activity on the part of the one who's been wronged in order to receive the one who approaches him or her. How does this work? Well, it's interesting. Maimonides articulates it very directly. In his Laws of Teshuvah, he says that if we've wronged another, we approach them and we ask that we be forgiven, admitting, of course, what we've done wrong. If they refuse to forgive us, and then refuse again, and then refuse a third time, then remarkably, according to Maimonides, the one who committed the original wrong is no longer the sinner, and it's actually the one who refuses to forgive who becomes the sinner. Maimonides says that explicitly. What he recognizes in a very profound psychological way is that if we want to approach someone and ask to be forgiven, it's going to be very difficult to do that in any case, and that much more difficult if we're afraid that we won't be forgiven. If we come to their door, if we call them on the phone, if we text them and begin to ask forgiveness, and we see in their face a kind of hardness, and this is called in the tradition literally hardness of face, azut panim, as opposed to a welcoming posture, that is to say, panim yafot, literally beautiful face, a gracious face. If we're afraid that we won't be forgiven, that will be impossible for us to actually approach them and to leave the status of sinner in order to rebuild this relationship. So as we think about what we're doing over the course of this period, we should recognize that not only have we wronged others and been wronged by others, but we have the responsibility to do teshuvah in two directions. We've got to go to those whom we've wronged and say we're sorry, and we've got to receive those who have wronged us with an open heart, even with love, and to say, yes, of course I forgive you, because without forgiveness, we become the sinner. We become the sinner because without forgiveness, the entire process of teshuvah becomes impossible.